Hi, I'm Biscuit,
And I'm Gravy, and
and
this
this
is
is
the
the
Biscuit and
Biscuit and
Gravy
Gravy
podcast.
podcast.
Okay, this is our first episode of this podcast where we're going to be talking about our ridiculous trauma. Um, do you have anything to say, Biscuit, about anything before we start?
Um, we don't know exactly what's going to be covered in every episode. Like, we don't have a set script because we want it to feel less like robotic therapy and more like an actual story. So, a little warning about things that could end up being mentioned or described in detail is financial hardship, trafficking, drugs, addiction, other like neglect, abuse, a lot. But a disclaimer is that we are much better. Our family is in a much better spot, and we are all on good terms with each other. So it's not like we're coming on here to bash the people that hurt us in the past. We are just sharing our current, like our past story with people now to both raise awareness for the things that happen and just because our story is quite frankly interesting and long. So we want to share it.
Okay, so to start our story, we have to go all the way back to like 2008, before Biscuit was even born. Biscuit was born in 2009, and this all started in 2008 when I was like 6 years old. And Biscuit, if you have anything to say during this, just jump right in because I'm just gonna be sitting here talking.
Don't worry,
Okay.
I have no beef with interrupting you.
Okay. So in 2008, I was like 6 years old, and that is when our parents first started using drugs. Um, I was completely unaware, obviously, for a really long time. I didn't find out until years and years and years later that drugs were even in the picture. But we don't know the whole truth. We don't know the whole story about why they started drugs, because they both have a pretty different story about why it happened. Um, all we know is that they were on drugs for a very long time. And it started in 2008. So one day, one crisp morning, I woke up and our mom was not there. Our mom was gone. Mind you, I was 6 years old, so I was like, "What the fuck?" Um, I go up to our dad and I'm like, "Hey, so where's she at though?" And he's like, "I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea." So that happens, and I'm very confused because my dad is acting so nonchalant about this. He's just like, "Oh, she just left. Like it's whatever." And I'm just like, "What do you mean it's whatever? Like what do you mean it's whatever?
What do you mean?
What do you
What do you
mean?"
mean? What do you mean?
Exactly, because it's like this is like a really serious thing for a 6-year-old
Yeah.
to like wake up and your mom is just gone. Like what the fuck?
Poof, be
So
gone.
so
Your makeup too strong.
eventually obviously things are happening that I'm unaware of because I'm only 6 years old. And my eventually my dad is like, "Okay, you're gonna go see mom." And I'm like, what?
News to me.
You know where she is actually?
She's
And
not missing?
yeah, yeah. And he's like, "You're gonna go to your mom's house for the weekend." I was staying with our dad during the weekdays because I went to school in his town, and my mom had moved to a another town, moved in with a friend of hers. And yeah. So I was staying with dad like full time, and then I was going to mom's on the weekends. Um anyway, that happens for a little while. There's nothing really to tell. Like I'm going from dad's house to mom's house, dad's house to mom's house. It's the basic divorce story, except they weren't even divorced.
Because they
And
hadn't even been married.
hadn't even been married yet, by the way. They were still technically dating. And one day I go to our mom's house and I'm ready to go home. Like it's Sunday and I'm like, okay, like I'm supposed to go home now. And she goes, "You're not going home." And I'm like, "Huh? Huh?
Huh?
What do you mean I'm not going home?" And she's like, "You're staying here. Like you're staying here." And I'm like, "But but
No.
but dad, but I want to see dad." And she's like, "Ooh, no though." And I'm like, "What? Okay."
Your request has been observed by the HR department, and it has been denied.
Yeah, exactly. I was so confused. And so she was like letting me talk to him on the phone. And so I would talk to him on the phone or whatever, but then eventually like obviously this is all kind of a blur for me because it's a really long time ago, but I remember eventually he just like wasn't answering the phone anymore. And I don't know if I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was like he was purposely not answering the phone, or if maybe our mom wasn't actually having me call him. Like, I don't really know what was going on. I just know that I stopped talking to him for a while.
Okay.
And it was like that for like a while. Like, it felt like years, but realistically, that's just because I was 6 years old. It was only a few months, but it felt like years. And one day, out of the blue, our dad is back, and
But did he
my
have the milk?
he had the milk. He was back, and not only that, but what the fuck, mom's pregnant.
Oh.
So that's literally
Oh,
how that happened.
those were like those happened at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay, I never understood that that was the timeline.
yeah. So dad comes back, and then all of a sudden it's, by the way, I'm pregnant, and I'm like,
I know what you meant, but how you worded it sounded like Dad was announcing he was pregnant. By the way, I'm pregnant.
and so I'm pissed off. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're pregnant? You just put me through all that and I'm having a sibling now? Like that's crazy. And
Then she proceeded to hate me.
and to add on top of that, a few months later, the day after my birthday, my grandma dies. And I was very, 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 very close with my grandma, like extremely close. She was basically she was helping raise me basically, and I just had like a really good relationship with her. And a lot of people say that I was her favorite, and I don't know. Her dying kind of funny story about her dying actually. I got home from school the day after my birthday. I had been celebrating my birthday at school, there was like cupcakes, I had like a crown. I remember coming home and I was wearing this little birthday crown that my teacher had given me. And mom and dad are like, "Okay, come downstairs to the basement," because that's where their bedroom was. And I go down into the basement, and they kind of sit me down and they're like, "Hey, so your grandma, like she's gone. She died." And I remember looking at my dad and seeing him cry and just fucking laughing at him. Like, I thought he was joking. Like, I literally was like, "No, she didn't. Like, you're lying." And I started laughing at him. And then I realized that it was real, and I was like, "Oh. Oh. So she's dead. Okay." And yeah, that kind of sucked. And it was kind of like the finding out I'm having a sibling, and then my grandma dying, and then everybody's too worried about you know, the fact that mom's pregnant and this, that, and the third, and got to make sure the pregnant one is comfortable, and got to make sure we're ready for the baby. And I'm just like, okay, but what about me? My grandma just died. Okay, okay, singing killed my grandma.
She had to make room.
Singing killed my grandma, bro. Like,
Was it the birthday song?
oh my god,
The birthday song killed your grandma?
for real. And yeah, so that's kind of the very beginning of our trauma. Um,
Well, her trauma. I wasn't alive.
well, it's the beginning of your trauma too, technically, because it was the beginning of your life. So,
It was
so
the
that
beginning of my conception. Life does not start at conception.
so a few a few months later, blah blah blah. Our parents get married. My mom is still pregnant. Few months later, after that, Biscuit is born,
Hey,
and
bitches.
and I was happy. Like
No, she
I
was.
wasn't, I wasn't mad about having a sibling. I
Yes,
was
they were.
like, listen, listen, listen. I was excited about having a sibling, but I was also like, I was 7 years old, so I was like mad that I wasn't getting any attention because the baby was getting all the attention.
Well, the baby was
And
better.
whatever. And so at this time, this is when a lot of stuff this is when a lot of my personal trauma started coming in, and there's going to be some trigger warnings for like online grooming and things like that. I was 7 years old when I started using the computer, and I was using the computer to, I guess, make up for the lack of attention that I was feeling at home. And I would go on the computer, and our mom had downloaded like this software or something, or maybe it was a website, I don't remember. It was called YouTube for Kids. And this was like 2009, so I don't know. I don't know if it's still a thing. I don't know if it's different now, but it was like YouTube for Kids or something like that.
There is a
And it,
YouTube Kids.
and it had like virtual worlds, like games and all
Oh,
sorts of
not that.
things. And then it had YouTube, and all the videos that were on there were for kids instead of like adults or like above child age. And so I had found this website through this kids software. Like, it was supposed to be for kids, and I had found it, and it was a game. I want to say it was called Dinosaur Kids or something like that. But essentially the premise is it's a virtual world, and you get to pick a dinosaur and play as a little cute dinosaur character, and you get to make friends and play games and all that. Well, this game was running rampant with people who were being very sexual. And I was only 7, so I was like, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know what we were talking about, anything like that. But people would like, they'd be like, hey, you want to come to my house? And so you would go to their house, and then they would like start jumping next to you and be like, starts having sex with you, but they would spell sex with a C so that it got past the the
Filter.
you know what I'm talking about. So it got past that.
Yeah, the filter.
Yeah. And I remember, not I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what I was doing, and I would start talking inappropriately to people on this website. Like, I would be like, cuz I didn't know what fucking humping meant. Like, what the fuck does humping mean? I'm 7. And so I'd be like, starts humping. I don't know what that means, but I'm doing it. And so I was getting really deep into this stuff because I felt like I wasn't getting any attention at home, and like I felt alone, and I didn't have my grandma. I didn't really have any friends. I didn't know what to do. And I had always been really, really into the internet. Like even before my grandma died, I was watching videos on YouTube that I should not have been watching. Um, but I had never gone into a virtual world and things like that. And I had never done that until I was like 7. Um, anyway, so I start doing all that, and one day, mom walks in the room, and I like flick off the computer, and she notices that I did that. She's like, "Okay, so what the fuck?" And I kind of just turn off the computer, and I'm like, "I'm done with the computer." And she's like, "What were you doing on there?" Or maybe it was our dad. I don't know. It was one or the other. Anyway, and they go, what were you doing on there?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just done with the computer." And they're like, "If you don't tell us, we're just gonna go find it anyway." And so I spilled my guts. I was like I was like, um, well, I've been playing on a game and people have been talking about having sex, and I don't know what that means, but it sounds inappropriate and it feels inappropriate. And they were like, "Okay." I was not allowed to use a computer anymore. I wasn't in trouble, but I wasn't allowed to use the computer anymore.
They said, "Oh, that's enough of that."
Yeah, I was not allowed to use the computer for a while after that.
Until you were 11.
Yeah. But I kept eventually I kept doing those things on the computer, and eventually it was on Animal Jam. And if anybody's actually listening to this and y'all are like around my age, like 24, your 20s, you know Animal Jam Classic. A lot of kids know the new Animal Jam it's not, it's like different. Animal Jam Classic in its peak, like when it first came out and a little bit after that, you know what was going on. You know that people were making strip clubs in that game, that people were having dating shows at their dens, like that game was heavily like dating centered and being inappropriate centered. It was it was bad.
I'm seeing
And
a trend here with the animal-styled games.
I really liked animals. Surprisingly, I'm not a furry, guys. I'm not. Um, but I just really liked animals. I also played another game that was animal centered, and it was called like shit. I can't remember what it was called. It was on an Australian themed game where you got to pick as an Australian animal and play as an Australian animal. There was like a dingo. There was an emu. There was
Emu,
there was a
emu.
kangaroo. Like there's a bunch of things, and I just like I I don't remember what it was called, but that was another one I played. Anyway, I was playing Animal Jam a lot, and I was very popular on Animal Jam. I had multiple accounts that I would go on and meet new people and talk to new people and things like that. And I had one of the accounts, my very first account, it does not exist anymore. I think it got deleted. Um, is where I met this guy. And this guy didn't actually do anything bad to me. Like to this day, like I don't feel like I was groomed or anything. Like I feel like it genuinely was just another kid. But I met this guy and his username was BattleAxe37. And so we had started dating or whatever in Animal Jam. And at this point I was like 9.
Girl.
And I made a new account. And this is the account I still use to this day because I still play Animal Jam to this day. But now I don't use it to talk to people. I don't talk to anybody unless I'm like trading for items. Um, I made my new account Battle Girl 38 because of Battle Axe 37 because I was obsessed with him. And girl, when I tell you, like, he was my first serious relationship, like, we were going steady for like a couple years
Damn.
on Animal Jam. Like, we never talked off of Animal Jam. And I remember being with him up until I was like 11. And I started talking to him when I was 9. So
He's out there somewhere waiting for you.
he's legit out there somewhere. He eventually broke up with me. He was like, I'm breaking up with you because my sister said so. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, damn.
And honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. Like maybe this guy's like older sister found out he was dating some rando on fucking Animal Jam and was like, break up with them. Like, I don't know.
Logically.
Like that could have happened. Very well could have happened. Um and yeah,
What if Battle Axe listens to this?
dude. Battle Axe 37, hit me up. Like I'm not even trying to like get with you anymore. I want to know who you are. Like I want to know who I was so obsessed with for so long.
And did you get hot?
And did you get hot? And were you actually my age?
Imagine it's some grown man.
No, literally, like it's some guy who's dead because he was like 60 back then. He was like 60 and now he's like in a nursing home. Um but yeah, that's most of the trauma that I went through before Biscuit was born or after Biscuit was born. There is more stuff, but I'm going to get into that in another episode, I think. I think I'm going to have to dedicate a whole episode to the stuff about our sister
Oh my god.
because that's a whole thing that I feel like if I talked about that here, we would be here for another half an hour.
Honestly, you could make a YouTube video because we have a YouTube channel. You could make a YouTube video and find because I know as of a couple of years ago there was a video on YouTube that was you guys from like forever ago. If you'd be comfortable with it, you could totally link that video to our YouTube channel somehow, like in the description of a video or something.
Yeah, maybe. I would have to talk to our sister.
Yeah,
Um we're not going to use our sister's real name in
at
this
all.
at all because she is not supposed to talk to us. So,
Again, that's a whole other can of worms. Imagine a Home Depot 5 gallon bucket, fill it with worms. That's what that is.
yeah, it's a whole thing. So, we won't be using her real name and we're going to have to dedicate like an episode to talk about that because it's crazy and it takes place from the year 1996 all the way to current. It's been 30 years of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be a whole episode in itself. Um but that's really the whole start to our trauma is what I just said. Like that's the start of it all. And it kind of my childhood was pretty good actually. Surprisingly for
Lucky
somebody
good.
surprisingly for somebody whose parents were using drugs at that time, I had no idea they were using drugs. Like I genuinely thought we were just broke. Like I didn't think we were broke because they were spending the money on themselves or anything like that. Like I was just like times are tough, like I get it. Like I was really understanding as a kid
Not so
and
much anymore.
not understanding anymore cuz give me your money. Run me my money.
You owe me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my childhood is pretty good. It was actually Biscuit who had the fucked up childhood. My childhood was perfectly fine up until I was 17. Like I had a really normal life up until then.
I had
Um,
whatever the opposite of normal life is. The first time I remember shit being like so fucked up was when I was like 4.
yeah.
And
I
I
ha-
remember I remember as young as I think 2 years old. I might remember some stuff from when I was 1, but nobody's been able to like give me a clear timeline of that time of my life, so I don't know. Like I have very clear memories. I just don't know what order they happened in.
yeah.
So I remember I think as young as 1. And the first time I remember there being a massive like thing, I was probably 4, maybe 5.
That's crazy because I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was like when I went to. It was like one of those mornings. It was like a Thursday morning.
One of the Thursdays where we brought mom to work.
Yeah.
You were older at that point because we were in Florida.
No, those weren't in Florida. I
Whatever.
will die on this hill. They were in Connecticut.
We okay. We we've
It's
lived
because
in
it was when she worked in Windsor.
we've lived in several different states.
5 states to be exact.
I've lived in 6. Biscuit has lived in 5.
6. Nope. You've lived in 7
No,
if you count Mass.
that I do count Mass, and that's 6.
Wait.
I've lived in Connecticut, Florida, Colorado, Washington, Massachusetts, and Missouri.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
that's 6.
I'm slow. My bad. We
Yeah,
lived we lived in Colorado twice, in Florida twice, and we lived in in Washington, but our parents didn't. That's a whole story. We'll get to that some point.
yeah. We'll get to that in another episode. This episode is really
Just like the
gonna be
foundations of everything.
yeah. This episode is just gonna be talking about the beginning. Like
Like honestly, the first biggest thing, like the thing where like the first time I was like genuinely scared, I remember them actually screaming like I want a divorce. I'm sick of this shit. Was when I was in I must have been 2nd grade, maybe 1st grade, first, second, maybe third. I don't know, somewhere in that time. We lived in an apartment complex, and I don't want to say the name of it because obviously, but it was in our hometown, and they got into a massive fight about money. And what I remember happened was they the power went out because there was a really bad storm. And the next day, like when the power hadn't come up yet, took, our dad took us out for lunch because there was no school because the power was gone all over town, like, except for like a small portion, which was where the food area, like the food places happened to be. So he took us to McDonald's and we like spent the day out of the house because there was nothing to do at home because there was no electricity. And that night, they got into a massive fight about money. And I remember them saying that the reason was because that money was supposed to be spent on a car. Later in my life, I came to the realization because I learned more things that it was actually drug money that he spent. Um, but I remember that massive fight, and it was like there was things being thrown. There was voices so loud, it was like shaking the walls, and Gravy, like, at one point, she was like, okay, we're gonna go. And she dragged me into our room, because we shared a room at the time. She dragged me into our room, shoved me in the closet, which was a terrible decision that she, at the time, could not possibly have known that was a terrible decision. But there were other things happening to me that I'm not gonna talk about yet. Um, but she shoved me in the closet with her headphones, and she was like, you're gonna watch Stranger Things, and you're not gonna come out until I bring you out. And I was in that closet for the rest of the night.
yeah, I remember doing that a couple times actually.
Yeah, it definitely happened more than once, but that's like the main time, I think,
Yeah,
in my
that's
brain.
That's when I was like 15.
Yeah. So that isn't
So
like the first time they like got into a fight like that. That's just like one of the first early notable ones to me.
that's one of the most. That's that
That's
fight is
honestly
one of
what like springboarded everything.
that fight is one of the most memorable fights that they've had for
That's
me too.
that's one of their most memorable ones because it was shortly after that they were like, "Hey, we're moving to Florida,"
Yeah,
which
and
they were doing because they were like, "If we move across the country, the drugs won't follow us." They
mind
were
you,
wrong.
mind you, why we were moving to Florida was they should not have agreed to this. I wanted to move to Florida because my high school boyfriend moved to Florida, and I wanted to go follow him and be with
That's
him.
not the only reason, but that's why the Florida conversation came up.
Yeah,
They were looking for somewhere to move because they were like, if we move, then we can get clean because we won't be surrounded by the environment that's encouraging us. And then Gravy was like, Florida? And they were like, yep, let's go.
yeah. So we
So
moved to Florida, and
that's
they should not have agreed to Florida because he ended up breaking up with me shortly thereafter. Um, we saw each other one time after we moved to Florida, and like a couple weeks later, he goes, "Seeing you isn't worth the wait, and I don't have feelings for you anymore." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And basically, and honestly, this was the best thing to happen to me because after that breakup is when I started getting really close to the person who is now my husband. Like, we're married now, and we've been together since then, since a couple weeks after my high school boyfriend broke up with me. So honestly, good for him, good for me.
pretty sure he's gay.
He's not, and I'm still friendly with him.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No. We're chill now, like we're mutuals on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and we talk every now and then. Like, I have no hard feelings towards him, and obviously he's over it because he's like 25 now, 25 years old, so he's not worried about what he did when he was 16 anymore.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's in a relationship now, I think, and they're really cute together, and I'm glad that he's happy and she's happy because she was my friend in high school and she was a sweetheart, and she really deserves somebody who makes her happy. So, yeah. But all the bad stuff happened after we moved to Florida. That's like, obviously there was stuff before then, but we'll get
That's
into
when
that
like shit really fucking hit the fan.
yeah, we'll get into that episode or that in the next episode where we talk about um
We're gonna, if you can't tell, we're trying to hit it all in a chronological order, but it's going to be a little bit out of order because, as is the nature of traumatic memories, you kind of bounce around a lot because you need context for things. And a context often requires going either farther back or going into the future when you learn the context.
yeah.
So, we're trying to make it make sense chronologically. But if there's some confusion, just know it will almost certainly be clarified.
So, just to recap, if you're confused, where we are is 2008, parents started using drugs. 2008, parents broke up. 2009, parents got back together. 2009, Biscuit was born. And then fast forward a little bit to around 2017 when fighting started and we moved to another state.
Yeah.
And in that state, when we moved to Florida, that is when everything hit the fan. That is when it got really bad, and that's when all the trauma started.
And then everything after that, it honestly goes continuously downhill from there for Gravy until about 2021. And then for me until like 2022. It just goes continuously downhill, and then it's just healing from there. Like, well, not healing, but better.
Yeah.
So everything in our life has really only been stable for about 3 years. So
Really? It's only
that's,
been 3 years.
yeah, well, it's only been because me and our parents only moved back here from Florida around or in late 2022, and I started school here early 2023.
I did not. I didn't know it's only been 3 years. That's crazy.
It's only been 3.5 years.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's a lot of this isn't really that long ago. Like in the grand scheme of things. Like sure 3 years is a long time, but considering all that happened between 2020 and 2023, it's really not that long. 2020 to 2023 is like a serious fever dream. It's like there's so many things that are like when did we even find time in our existence for that to happen? But it
Yeah.
happened. So much of it sounds really like fake in a lot of ways, but it's like none of it is. It's just all that's what happens when that's the type of life that's set out for you. Because
Yeah.
at the time we didn't have any control over it. So we were just kind of living with the flow of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Um that's really all I have to talk about for this episode. I think in the next episode I'm going to get into what happened in Florida and us moving to Colorado, and I think we're going to cover some of the things we went through in Colorado before we moved back to Florida the second time.
Yeah.
Or
I
before we moved to Washington. Like we'll get through that,
yeah,
but
I
there's
think
a
that
lot.
I think it's honestly going to take some time to get through all of 2019 and 2020. Like obviously 2020 was a horrid year for like our entire generation and everybody alive that was conscious at the time. It was like really bad. But 2020 was so horrible to us for a lot of different reasons. And obviously there was the stuff with COVID, but throw that in with poor choices and like just overall suffering. There's like a lot to unpack. We don't have time to unpack all of that. So, we're gonna do baby steps.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have to talk about for this episode. This is a really short episode. I anticipated it to be longer, like maybe 45 minutes to 50 minutes, but it's only going to be 38.
No, that's fine. It's only the foundations. We're only getting started.
It's not
As
like this
we
one's going to blow up. It's not like this one's going to blow up.
yeah,
It'll be okay.
as we move further into it, the episodes will only ever be as long as an hour. We are going to work very hard to make sure that there are no episodes longer than an hour. But as we move into it, they're going to get longer and longer. So
And
it's okay that this one's fairly short.
as we do this, we're going to get the feel of it better. And this is our first episode and we're completely unscripted. So
Yeah. As we
as
move
we
into this,
keep doing this,
we're gonna plan. We're gonna like learn the world of podcasts because we are not frat boys. We don't come preloaded with this knowledge. So we'll
yeah.
figure it out.
But yeah, thanks for listening and make sure you subscribe and do all that fun stuff.
Subscribe, follow, obsess. We're amazing. You should love
Make edits
us.
of us. Make edits of us and
Exactly.
talk about how awesome we are and make fan pages for us.
Exactly. Check out our TikTok. Check out our Instagram.
We don't have a
Or
Facebook, but we
we don't
might
have a Facebook.
eventually. We'll have a Facebook if this actually goes anywhere. We'll make a
Yeah.
Facebook.
Facebook is like that's the sign that you made it.
Yeah.
So, but we have a TikTok. lovely profile picture made by me. Instagram, we have YouTube, and it's all the same username. So if you can find us here, you can find us there. And you probably found us from there. But
At least find us on TikTok and you'll find the rest of the links
exactly.
to everything else. And that's it. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.